Hello, dream traveler. I am the storyteller, and I am here to guide you toward a moment of calm and rest. Before you fall asleep, if this story soothes you, you can leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and please tell me where you are listening from and what time it is where you are. Sit down, make yourself comfortable, and gently enter the story. You know, sometimes life gives you a scene straight out of a movie. For me, that scene happened on a train, rattling through the countryside on a Tuesday afternoon. It was one of those days where the sky was a perfect cloudless blue, and the world outside the window was a blur of green and gold. I was just staring out, lost in thought, when the train pulled into a small, forgotten-looking station. And that's when she got on. It was like the whole carriage held its breath. She had this way of moving, so graceful and sure as she looked for a seat. She wore a simple summer dress, and her hair caught the sunlight streaming through the window. I tried to look away, to go back to my book, but my eyes just kept drifting back to her. She finally found a seat, right across the aisle from me. Our eyes met for a split second. It was just a glance, nothing more, but my heart did this ridiculous little flip. I quickly looked down at my book, pretending to be deeply absorbed, but I couldn't read a single word. My mind was racing. Should I say something? What would I even say? Nice weather we're having? So original. The fear of saying something dumb was paralyzing. So for the next 20 minutes, I sat there, caught in this silent battle with myself. Every so often I'd sneak a glance, and a couple of times, I think she was looking my way too. It was this strange, unspoken connection, a little bubble of possibility in the middle of a mundane train ride. I started imagining all these scenarios. Maybe she was a traveling artist or a writer searching for inspiration. Maybe she was heading home to see family. The train was getting closer to my stop, and a sense of panic started to set in. This was it, my one chance. If I didn't say something now, I'd probably spend the rest of the day, maybe the rest of the week, kicking myself. I took a deep breath, mustering up every bit of courage I had. Here we go, I thought. I looked up, ready to say something, anything, and she was gone. She had gotten off at the previous stop while I was lost in my own head, building up the courage to speak. I just stared at her empty seat. The bubble had popped. It was a feeling I'm sure many of you know well, the sting of a missed opportunity, the what if. I felt a mix of disappointment and, weirdly, a little bit of amusement at my own hesitation. But this story doesn't end there, because that feeling of regret, it taught me something important. How many times do we let a moment pass us by because we're afraid? Afraid of rejection, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of stepping out of our comfort zone. We build up these huge mental barriers, when in reality, the worst that can happen is usually just a little awkwardness. The potential reward, on the other hand, could be a new friend, a great conversation, or even the start of a beautiful story. That day, I made a promise to myself. No more missed moments, no more letting fear call the shots. The next time I felt that spark of connection, that little nudge from the universe, I was going to act on it. It wasn't about successfully getting a date. It was about honoring the moment, about being present and brave enough to reach out. A few weeks later, I was in a coffee shop buried in my laptop when I overheard someone at the next table passionately talking about a book I had just finished. It was one of those niche books, the kind you rarely find someone else who's read it. I felt that same familiar jolt of hesitation. My mind started screaming, "Don't bother them, they're busy!" But then I remembered the girl on the train and the empty seat. I took a breath, turned to the person and said, "Excuse me." I couldn't help but overhear. "Are you talking about The Midnight Library? I just finished it. It was incredible." Their face lit up, and just like that, we were off, talking for an hour about characters and plot twists. We didn't exchange numbers or become best friends, but that conversation was one of the highlights of my week. I walked out of that coffee shop feeling alive, proud that I had pushed past the fear. It turns out the world is full of these train moments. They happen in grocery store lines, at concerts, in parks. They are little invitations from life to connect with the people around us. And each time we accept that invitation, we build our courage muscle. It gets easier. The fear doesn't necessarily disappear, but our willingness to act in spite of it grows stronger. Think about your own life. How many times has a similar opportunity presented itself? A chance to give a compliment, to ask a question, to share a laugh with a stranger. What held you back? And what might have happened if you had just gone for it? Maybe nothing, or maybe everything. The point of this story isn't to say that every attempt at connection will lead to some grand cinematic romance. Most won't. But what they will do is enrich your life in small, meaningful ways. They'll pull you out of your own head and into the shared human experience. They'll remind you that we're all just people, navigating our own journeys, hoping for a little connection along the way. The girl on the train was a beautiful, fleeting moment, a ghost of a memory. I'll probably never see her again, and that's okay. She became a catalyst, a symbol. She taught me that the real story isn't about meeting the perfect person. It's about becoming the kind of person who is open to the possibility of connection wherever and whenever it might appear. It's about choosing courage over comfort and participation over observation. So, the next time you're on a train or in a coffee shop or just walking down the street and you feel that little pull, that moment of potential connection, I hope you think of this. Take a breath and just say hello. You never know where that single word might take you. It might be the start of a new chapter, or it might just be a pleasant conversation. Either way, you'll have chosen to live in the story, not just watch it pass by your window. And that, I think, is a choice we'll never regret. Thanks so much for listening to my story today. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your own girl on the train moments in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about living a more connected and courageous life. See you in the next one.